Mario Kart is pretty fun, it really is. Whether it's racing with buddies online, trying to improve your high score in time trials, or battling it out with some computers. Today I want to focus on one particular component of the racing part, namely the tracks. The tracks are the defining key component that make races so fun. Without the various track designs, we wouldn't be able to witness hilarious situations like these. Ah, pure gold. And one peculiar track theme that has appeared in every Mario Kart game thus far is Rainbow Road. So join me today as I will be ranking every incarnation of Rainbow Road from the very first Mario Kart to the most recent. Oh, and spoiler, there will be an absolute hot take in here and I will not hold back in dissing this track to the ground. So yeah, be prepared. And also, if you enjoy this kind of content, make sure to hit that subscribe button, cause it really helps your boy out a ton. And I appreciate all of your support. Alright, let's get right started with number 18, GBA SNES Rainbow Road. Yeah, I don't really know what to say. This track is by far the worst Rainbow Road because of its way too tight pathways and the narrow controls of the GBA. And don't get me wrong, the GBA physics can work as we will see later. But in this track, I don't know. The so-called remake just feels like an alternative version and not really like an improvement like remakes should. Also the chipped song remix can't really redeem this course. So yeah, that's why this track sits at dead last. Sorry SNES Rainbow Road, you will see some much better results later on. Number 17, SNES Rainbow Road. Ah, the original, very first Rainbow Road that has started this trend. I've gotta say, for their first attempt, they did a great job. But since Super Mario Kart has some pretty stinky controls, this track gets held back pretty badly. But giving it some credit, the original tune of the SNES Rainbow Road still holds up quite nicely. In fact, here, have a listen to it. Oh yeah, that's fire. Number 16, N64 Rainbow Road. By far the longest track in the entire series, this track is pretty infamous for its long duration and aggravating chain jumps. Sure, the track looks pretty charming, but once you play it, you notice that it's pretty boring. Since the entire road has guardrails, it is almost impossible to fall off the map and especially catch up. Especially when the best items like red shells and even blue shells get instantly destroyed by their guardrails due to their dumb AI. The soundtrack still slaps pretty hard and is super nostalgic. And definitely the track's best component is the massive gap jump that I definitely made first try. Also, holy crap, I perfectly bounced off the road into oblivion, like what the f. Number 15, Tour 3DS Rainbow Road. I don't want to waste too much time talking about this spot, since we'll talk about 3DS Rainbow Road a lot more later on. But that said, this version is pretty boring with alright visuals and mediocre gameplay, but I wouldn't really call it an improvement, more a downgrade from the original. At least Tour's gliding physics still feel pretty similar to MK7's, but it could function better. Number 14, Tour SNES Rainbow Road. Alright, now we're entering the improvement remake SNES Rainbow Road. It is a faithful remake with some nice visuals and pretty alright gameplay, although it is still pretty average and doesn't have too many intriguing assets to really challenge the player, but still an alright track though. Number 13, RMX Rainbow Road 1. Now this is more like a Tour remake. The added gliding segment adds some much needed excitement to the standard track, and it's pretty fun gliding through those dash rings. But aside from that, the track is still pretty underwhelming unless, like I said, you're a massive gliding fan. Number 12, 8 Deluxe 3DS Rainbow Road. Yes, your eyes are not deceiving you. This is real. I can't create my own opinions unlike other people. This track is not a masterpiece. Couldn't be further from it. This version of 3DS Rainbow Road is worse in pretty much every way possible, besides maybe the visuals. In fact, let's first list off these so-called improvements and then directly discuss why they just failed. Both shortcuts were cut. The gliding compared to the OG feels terrible and the remix sounds less hitting than the OG OST. Alright, so first to the shortcuts. Why the hell did they remove both shortcuts? The shortcuts were so fun to pull off in the OG version, but in the remake, they're just inexplicably missing. So now there's no way to pull off astounding tasks like here. I mean, come on, you can't sit here with a straight face and not tell me that this isn't amazing. Next, the gliding. Come on, when you know that the physics don't fit, why would you remake this track in the first place when you know that the physics feel so different from the original version? I mean, just look at how I'm flying in the 3DS version and how I'm flying in the 8 Deluxe version. Pretty self-explanatory. It just doesn't work. The soundtrack is alright, it's pretty subjective, but I personally prefer the OG version. And finally, the worst part. The part that completely ruined the track for me. I remember playing the Moon Cup for the first time back in December. I got through Burning Byways, Peach Gardens, and Merry Mountain quite easily. I was pretty impressed by the quality and thought to myself, okay, now it's time for the big one. 3DS Rainbow Road. With the pure quality of the previous tracks, it has to be good. And then I played through it. I get a little upset about the absence of the shortcuts, but at the time I didn't think much of it. But then I slowly approached the final part. I think to myself, oh my god, now it's the time where the music mutes and you can only hear the pressure of the final lap count, and especially the sounds of the boost panels that really emerge, the deep feelings, and then nothing happens. No sounds. Effects? Just a final lap melody. No sound effects. How and why would they remove the part with the most appealing and the most affecting part of the entire track? This track is just an absolute disappointment, and it's very unfortunate because the original version is actually very decent. But due to the massive amount of removals and no real improvements, this track just gets absolutely obliterated. And honestly, I don't even want to give it more time in the spotlight, so let's move on. Number 11, RMX Rainbow Road 2. Alright, now that we finally have that previous abysmal track over, let's move on to RMX Rainbow Road 2. I'd say again that this is a much more fitting remake for SNES Rainbow Road, since, once more, the track just gains more interesting parts and assets. We got some pretty cool stuff, like the bouncing mushrooms and especially the end gliding section. Yeah, pretty alright track. Number 10, 3DS SNES Rainbow Road. Yep, we got another SNES Rainbow Road, this time on the 3DS. SNES Rainbow Road in MK7 feels pretty nice to drive on. The road is just perfectly sized for the amount of racers. MK7's physics also do this track a huge favor, since the drifting skills and the general driving just feels right. Compelled with nice visuals, we got ourselves a pretty nice track. Number 9, 8 N64 Rainbow Road. Okay, first off, I want to say that the gap from number 10 and 9 is pretty huge, since the following Rainbow Roads are all fantastic. Also, for this part, I will let my friend Cry Corner state his opinion, since he's quite fond of this track. So take it away, Cry Corner.
Yes, thank you very much, Kinge. I personally grew up with the N64 and mostly played Mario 64 and also Mario Kart 64, and that's when I first saw it. The best Rainbow Road. Even though it was a little long, I quite liked it and preferred it over most of the other maps. When it then got a remake in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I was hooked. I got the game and played this masterpiece of a map so much I can easily draw it blindly now. Visually, it's just so stunning, and the music helps the track to become one of my favorites over the years. Even though it is a little too short now, I would have preferred 2 laps over 1, it still feels special. With all the details, it feels more like a ride rather than a kart racing map, which for me makes it stand out very much. Thank you, Kinge, for having me, and now back to you.
Number 8, 8 Rainbow Road. Pretty ironic that 8's Rainbow Road is number 8, but I digress. I feel like from the standard Rainbow Roads, this is the most underrated, besides maybe DS or GBA. Well, first off, the more than 90-degree turns are a super challenge, and the possibility of jumping from road to road makes it a lot of fun just driving on this track. Also, credit for the new inspiration and execution for the Rainbow Road approach, since now the road is combined with a space station. All around, a pretty neat track. Number 7, 3DS Rainbow Road. Okay, finally I get to talk positively about this track. This track looks amazing for 3DS standards and is a lot of fun to race on. The section-based approach also fits this track perfectly, creating the very first section-based Rainbow Road. You first start up bouncing from aisle to aisle, then spiral around this comet, then bounce on this mushroom, fly on Saturn's rings, traverse some tight corners accompanying boost panels, jump on the moon, and then shoot through the spiral, flying your way back to the finish line. The shortcuts make for some pretty risky but rewarding takes. And best of all, the intensity and pressure approach when the final lap starts. Man, this is going to make me cry. This track makes perfect use of every mechanic in MK7 and executes it perfectly along with an accompanying perfect amazing song. The OG version really is something special. It would have just been nice if the so-called remakes would have improved on it. Oh well. Number 6, DS Rainbow Road. When I think of a Rainbow Road, I think of this track, since, come on, it can't get more rainbow-like than this. Although its similarities to the previous incarnation of Rainbow Road, that being GCN Rainbow Road, are pretty obvious, it doesn't counteract its own distinctiveness. Of course, we got the most iconic part of the track, the loop-de-loop and the spiral. But the one would say not so interesting part also sticks out to just being generally fun and exciting to drive on. It's stuff like the little jump, or just the great drifting physics that fit the track so well and greatly enhance it. Oh, and just don't be an idiot and straightly drive into the wall, that you get knocked off, cause that definitely didn't happen to me. And also, just for 1 second, can we talk about Shy Guy's animations in this game? I mean, just look at this little man. Look at the celebration that he does when he hits someone. Like, for real, this is the best thing ever. Number 5, 8, SNES Rainbow Road. Ah, yes, the definite and best version of this track. First off, we got some amazing visual improvement, and once again accompanied with an amazing remix that makes everyone go high. Also, the track finally got enlarged to finally feel like a road and not as much as a pathway. The background is perfectly chosen with the rainbow hills, and this track in general just feels amazing to race on. So yeah, definitely the go-to version of this track. Number 4, Wii Rainbow Road. Oh baby, now it's getting super hot. First off, this Rainbow Road has the best Rainbow Road soundtrack of all of them, no debate. It just sounds so epic and marvelous. Also, this track is hard as balls, so be prepared for a bad time if it's your first time playing. There are a lot of turns, jumps and obstacles that wanna ruin your day, but the sheer difficulty and the feeling when you finally complete this track make you feel like an absolute Chad. When you beat this track, goddamn, you're on top of the world. Probably my only real complaint is that I'm not the biggest fan of the visuals. Don't get me wrong, the track looks great, but the brighter road aesthetics... Yeah, I don't know. I just prefer the darker roads aesthetics from the other versions. Maybe if there was an alternate version with darker lighting of the road, this track would smack. Number 3, GBA Rainbow Road. By far the most difficult Rainbow Road in the series. I mean, have you tried this track? There are no guardrails at all. But even worse, they are replaced with jump pads surrounding the entire road. There are also flying stars and hazards shooting down onto the road. So, you may be asking yourself, Kinge, why is this track's placement so high? And I will respond, well, fellow viewer, it's because of opportunities like this. I mean, just look at this footage. Look at it. I did that. Like, what the hell is even going on? But still, this track definitely earns its spot as the most difficult Rainbow Road to ever exist. And it's due to its craziness and absolute difficulty why this track is so high up. Number 2, GCN Rainbow Road. Damn, this song slaps. You will be humming the melody the entire time while racing. But just speaking about the racing part, man, this track feels great to drive on. We got a lot of twists and turns, a spamming amount of boost panels, a lot of jumps in elevation, ascending to the heavens. Like, you even got random stars just falling onto the track for you to grab. What do you need more? Oh, I know what you're looking for. And finally, number 1, Tour Wii Rainbow Road. Looks like we got our desired visuals. Oh, and also, yes, a tour track is number 1. Cry about it. This track does everything right. Phenomenal visuals, a stimulating soundtrack, thrilling track design, titillating gameplay, and the perfect amount of difficulty. Honestly, I couldn't have created a Rainbow Road better myself. In fact, I tried it and it didn't go so well. But getting back on topic, man, the first time I played this back in the Space Tour, my mind was blown. Every single implemented asset of this track is peak. And even the thought that this track will be also remade for the final track of Wave 6 absolutely excites me about the fact that we might get an even better version of it. If they continue their trend of pretty much using their 2 remakes of the tracks, then I'm most certainly sure that we're about to get overwhelmed by amazingness. Let's just hope it doesn't end like another disaster. Well, that was it. What do you guys think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Of course you disagree, because 3DS Rainbow Road is number 1. Well, like I said, cry about it. But regardless, if you can accept others' opinions, and or even more surprisingly, agree with some of my placements, which I highly doubt, let me know some of your thoughts down in the comments below. But yeah, with that said, I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you guys in the next one. See ya! Yahoo! Hey, man! Fuck! Oh, der, ey!
Meinst du, du gewinnst halt? Weil du denkst, du bist da.
Oh, scheiße! Nein! Oh, oh, oh! Nein! Nein! Bitte! nicht endlich?